We'll call the criminal justice meeting to order. We do have a quorum of members here, and I'm going to have a motion to approve the minutes of the prior committee meeting. Matt Simpson, second. Rachel, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We sent out an RFP to get requests for a countywide EMS type of system. We have reviewed those RFPs. Our staff has some comments to make, and I'm asking the committee here, do you think we should be calling an executive session to go over that?
I'll make a motion, go into executive session to discuss it.
Okay, and the justification?
My understanding, Mr. Chairman, is that the executive session would be for the purpose of discussing the medical, financial credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation, or matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, dismissal, or removal of a particular person or corporation.
Okay.
What he said.
So we need a motion to go into executive session. Second on the going to executive session. Matt, all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we're going to go. The proposal from Empire. We're going to reject the proposal from Johnsburg, and the proposal from our staff really isn't a proposal. It's just it was to give us a guideline in terms of dollars. We're in a budgetary process right now, and everyone in this room is looking at a potential cost of $1 million. So it's not workable for us. So we're going to go back to the drawing board. But I thank both Empire and Johnsburg for at least giving us their thoughts and their dollar amount on it.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, just for the record, I'd like to make that as a motion.
Okay. Motion made, seconded by Matt, and that is the rejection of those two bids, or those two proposals. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right. The sheriff has some thoughts for us with regards to EMS and some of the other counties that have found ways to get things done. So I'm going to give the sheriff an opportunity to at least share with us some of the things that he's found along the way.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just for the committee to consider, there is a sheriff's office locally that is doing some sort of hybrid of what you folks have discussed. That's Albany County. I spoke with Albany County Sheriff Craig Apple this morning at length. He's been doing it for quite a while. I guess it's become very successful for him. They've got a compromise down there, it looks like. They call it the hill towns. A lot of the hill towns that cannot afford their own EMS nor control it, so they contract with the county, i.e. overseen by the sheriff's office. And I think Craig told me his total budget is around $3 million, and he said it's completely budget neutral. So in other words, they hire the staff, the county hires the staff, buys the ambulances, has the equipment, and covers those hill towns. And they charge each of the towns a fee, and I believe the sheriff said that they take care of the billing, and with what they get from the towns and from the billing, they're better than budget neutral. And what he's started doing is, with the billing, if it's over what the budget is, in other words, if their appropriations is $1.5 million, and their revenue is $1.5 million, and then they get billing of $100,000 extra, he started divvying up the $100,000 with the towns that work with them. So it can be done. It is being done successfully. If it's something that you really want to do, I think Craig would probably be more than happy to come up and impart his wisdom on how it's working. He's actually got other towns from other counties that want him to do it. It's been so successful in the Albany area. Again, but you have the big towns that want to keep their own, like the town of Colony, City of Albany, they all do their own. So, you know, the town of Queensbury wanted to keep theirs, they could keep it. It's something that can be done. They have a system and it works very well.
Now, how do they fund it? I mean, other than the revenue, is it a taxing district or?
You know, I didn't ask him that. I know, from my recollection from the phone call with him, I was looking at his appropriations, and appropriations for you know, all his equipment, all his employees. I think for the 1 year, I think it was maybe 2014 or 15, it was $1.5 million. And what he charged those municipalities equaled to $1.5 million. So some towns would pay more depending on how much business you had in that locality, others paid less. Those sort of washed out, made it budget neutral. One of the big towns wanted to keep their own billing, so they do the billing. They pay a fee, plus they do the billing, and they get more revenues for the billing.
Right.
And the ones that he bills for, he would take a percentage of anything over and divide it amongst the towns, so it remained budget neutral. So the county wasn't on the hook for any of it. To me, that sounds like a workable thing to do. He said it's very efficient because the people are getting the service that they want. It's consistent throughout all the hill towns. They're getting the service, and it's well managed.
And the point you make too, Mayor, Sheriff, is somebody has to control it, and that somebody can be the sheriff.
But it could be whoever you wanted it to be.
Yeah,
Certainly, we could certainly look at it, but it's in Albany County, it's the sheriff that controls it.
Right.
It's certainly doable. It's certainly something that the county has control over.
Thank you.
Yep.
Rachel?
Supervisor Montesi, do you think that we could invite the sheriff from Albany County to come up to a special meeting of criminal justice?
Yeah, that was in my next request for the sheriff, to see if we can plan that.
I'm sure he would be more than happy to. I'll talk to him. He's very amenable to a lot of people, friendly guy. I'm sure he would come up.
Okay,
Maybe-
fine. Yes,
Maybe coupled with that, Mr. Chairman, is maybe in advance of his coming up here, maybe we send a small group, the sheriff and one or two other people down there to talk to him in detail. That way it would be
okay.
more productive when they do.
Yeah, I think it would be smart to send down some EMS people down there that know what they're talking about. I'd be more than happy to do that.
Maybe Pat can talk a little bit. Pat works for the town of Colony. He's very familiar with how Albany County does their stuff. And when we initially gave the proposal, Pat got a lot of the stuff from the town of Albany, or the county of Albany, and that's what he used. Pat, do you want to talk a little more?
Yeah, that's actually the way we figured out our budget plan is based on Albany County's plan. And as Amy alluded to, actually I do work with a couple of the players from Albany County. You know, Sheriff Apple is overall in charge, but as far as the EMS program, Brian Wood and Dennis Wood, they're a subsidy under Sheriff Apple, and they'd be very easy to contact. And actually, we talked with Brian before, Brian Wood, that is, and give us a lot of good information on how to put this together. And a lot of what we've put in is actually based on the Albany County Sheriff's Department EMS program. So, yeah.
I think it definitely works down there from what everybody
Yeah, they've been doing that for a long time.
It definitely works. It's certainly a model that's already out there. You don't have to be
Exactly.
It just depends on whether the county board would want to do something like that as a service for the people. I think it's something to look at.
And actually, when we met with Brian, he said anytime we want to come down or have him come back up, he'd be happy to go over the plan in detail as well. So.
Well, I think that'll be our next step, to at least do a visit down and then arrange for another meeting of the criminal justice with the sheriff coming up and talking to us. But certainly we will go down and at least get the ball rolling. The interesting thing is, our sheriff points out, is that some of the big communities like Colony have opted out, but there are some other big ones that are still in, like Bethlehem. And so in our situation, if Queensbury, and I've talked to them, stay opted out, and the city, we're dealing with a little smaller tax base, or if you will, or number base. But in essence, the whole county brings in $3 million in revenue from EMS. Now, that's how a lot of the small guys operate. But there's $3 million. $1 million comes from Queensbury. I don't have the numbers for the city, but it's irrelevant at this point. So there's $2 million out there in the smaller towns in Warren County that would be a basis of some of this, our thoughts. So we'll give it a go. I think having an opportunity to see one in action and have a fella come up and talk to us about it may give us a better perspective, and then we can put some numbers together and see what the cost is going to be for a small community.
Also, by having Brian and Sheriff Applegate up here, we can talk to them about the startup costs that they had to go through and any potential pitfalls that we might want to avoid that they skirted around too. Because I think that's the biggest thing, whether it's Albany County, Warren County, or any of the other counties, because there's a ton of counties that are going through the exact same thing that we're going through. It's that first step, doing it. It is the hardest pill to swallow. And maybe by talking to Craig, he'll give us some very good ideas of what to avoid and what to do and what to expect.
So we have pretty much agreement on that. We will go down and visit, I as chairman and the sheriff and any member of the committee that would like to go down. Ron?
I would.
And we'll arrange that to go down, and then we'll also arrange for Sheriff Appleby to come up and give us some. So I think we're moving ahead. We've at least eliminated some of the concerns. And from the perspective of employees or adding employees, one of the things that we're finding here is that people in EMS are, where do they grow? What's the future for them? Is it $15 an hour job part-time, or is there going to be a future? And I think if you had a countywide system, there is a future for some of these folks. And I asked the group today, what does it take to become an ALS? It's 1 year of training full-time, or 2 years part-time, but it's a commitment on their part. So maybe we will be building something with that too.
Mr. Chairman, just for the record, is Sheriff Craig
Apple.
APPLE.
Okay. All right. There is one more resolution that I request. You want to read this one? There's a resolution here that we need to address.
Mr. Chairman, I can address that if you like.
Okay.
Yeah, we have spotty communications coverage up county in some areas, and one of those areas is in Stony Creek, and Supervisor Thomas has offered use of the land behind the Stony Creek Town Hall for a new radio tower, and they have offered an intermunicipal agreement to the county. We have agreed on a form. We're going to pursue the Adirondack Park Agency permit we would need for such a tower, but we are recommending we would need the approval of the committee and the board to authorize the chairman to sign that intermunicipal agreement.
Mr. Moved by Matt, seconded by Matt. All in favor?
Aye.
Also, I have a request here for a resolution request to increase the capital project H254-9550280 Fire Training Center project. The project in the amount of $59,575.44. The rationale: the resolution needed to reflect a reimbursement payment from Washington County in the amount of $13,715.39 plus the anticipated reimbursement of $45,860.05 for 50% of the water line installation expense. This is the fire training center that is on Airport Road in the town of Queensbury. We are installing the fire training center. Didn't have any water. So we're running the water line up 1,000 feet. Town of Queensbury, I believe, is helping us with the installation of the hydrant and the valves. And this is a 50-50 split with the with the county of Washington, and it's all grant funded. These are not dollars that are coming out of the general fund. Right?
Capital project.
Capital project. Okay, so that's a resolution, right?
It's
All right, we got to refer this to finance, so I need a resolution to refer this to finance. Matt, seconded by Rachel. All in favor? Yes.
I'm sorry. Are we going to have discussion? Can we have discussion on it?
Yes, sure.
I just have a question. I understand here that we're accepting for the anticipated reimbursement of $45,860.05. What if there's other costs that come up and that's not the amount? Is it traditional that we would approve this resolution now and then go back and amend it?
Yes, this is what we normally do. Originally, we were just going to do the $13,000 because that's what they've already, they already owe us that. And while we were discussing, it's like instead of doing another resolution request in a few months for the $45,000, why don't we just do both of them right now today?
So if it changes up or down, you'll come back and amend it?
Exactly.
Okay.
Vote on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Discussion? Privilege of the floor. Anyone? All right. Move for adjournment. Matt? John, you didn't you didn't raise your hand once.
I'm not on the committee.
Oh.
Gotta get on it.